go. Surprise, surprise. It's just me. Welcome to Waaaay Offsides on your Thursday night live show for all your Bama stuff. Let's start off by saying prayers up to our boy Cotton. He is dealing with COVID and some other things, and he's down tonight, so you're stuck with my big dumb face. Thought I might have some help tonight, but guess not. So called in some reinforcements. Our boy Tobias is going to be joining us here shortly. He's going to pop in. We like our old friend Tobias. He hadn't been on in a while, so we're going to come on here and chop it up. Talk about our new quarterback, Ty getting the official QB1 designation. We all knew this was coming. It's not a big surprise, but hearing it officially announced is a good thing. I did see that this was the earliest that DeBoer has ever named a QB1 in either of his other stops. Not counting North Dakota or wherever he came from, wherever that small school was that he came from. But I think at Fresno State, it was like 4 days before the season opener that he named the starter. And then I think Penix got named the starter, 8 or 9 days before the season opener. So this is the earliest he's named the starter. So I don't know if that's because I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's good though. I think that shows that Ty's taking the job, and that's it. So I'm excited about it. I'm spinning it as a positive thing. So what do you guys think in the chat? I see a lot of y'all in the chat. K Spray, T Wheat, Lance is here. J Bake, of course. Marcus, I see you. Kat, Eric D in the house. BD James, Roll Tide from Texas. Wow, got somebody from Texas. Horns down. We love the Tide. Roll Tide, BD James. I like your avatar thing there. That's a pretty cool pick. Anyway, so I appreciate you guys chiming in. You have to roll with me here. So what do you guys think about Ty being the QB? I'm not going to lie to you. He's not wowed me at any stretch in any of his mop-up duties. He's had some a play here or there. He's made some good runs here or there. So I know everybody's comparing it to the Mac Jones situation in 2020, but it's hard not to, because if y'all remember the mop-up duty that Mac had, I'd say before the Michigan game, really. I mean, because he kind of struggled in the Auburn game. Some fluky stuff happened in that game, but he really played well in that bowl game. But prior to that, his mop-up duty stuff, he hadn't really wowed you. He was around 50% completion for the little bit of throws he got. So it's kind of like, what are we getting with this guy? Now they put weapons around him, gave him a clean pocket, and he had a 77% completion rate. So things happen. So I think next year, depending on how well Ty does this year, he could get drafted, and then I think Keelan's the man. I don't know that Austin, but you never know. Austin Mack may beat him outright, but I think next year, I'll be shocked if Keelan doesn't win the job next year. I think dynamicness like that can't be kept on the bench or can't be kept in a backup role. It was almost criminal that Tua had to do that for that year, but you couldn't take Jalen out for no reason. But at any other time, Tua would have been starting probably as a freshman. But I don't know. Maybe in the background, I knew he wasn't ready. And then in the Georgia game, he had no other bullet in the chamber, so to speak. No other way. Anyway. Yes, agreed, Eric D. It takes a while to get some continuity with your wide receivers. We do have a plethora of wide receivers. A plethora of wide receivers. I think a wide receiver room is stacked deep. You're looking at another version of the rideouts. We've spoke of this before, but the unity about the group is really impressive. I really like what Jeremy Bernard said about, despite the fact he led the team in receptions last year and he was down the stretch, he was the most consistent receiver that we had because, Ryan hit kind of the freshman wall towards the end of the year. I wouldn't say he sucked, but he was not as dynamic as he was at the beginning of the year, which is understandable. And Jeremy was our really most consistent weapon. So the fact that he came back and then they're saying, despite the fact that you led the team in catches, Ryan gets all the hype, Ryan gets all the glory, it's all Ryan, the Hollywood Williams, and not that he's got an ego from it, but Jeremy was like, I'm good with it, man. He deserves it. He's earned it. I'm supporting the kid. I'm here to do my thing and we're going to win some games, whatever he was saying. He was really had Ryan Williams back. He was really, behind him. Didn't really sound like a guy that was going to be jealous of any of the hype he wasn't getting or any of the pub he wasn't getting, because everything is Ryan Williams. When you're talking Bama receivers, the first name out your mouth, out of all of our mouths, is Ryan Williams, Ryan Williams, Ryan Williams. And how could it not be? But you got to have those guys behind him. You got to have those veterans behind him to push him along, to support him, to get him in the right spots, to keep him grounded, keep him humble. Oh, we got Herb and Raj in the house. What's up, boys? Good to see you guys. So what do you guys think? Ty Simpson, QB1. I'm good with it. I think he's a veteran, going to be a good leadership. The guys seem to be behind him. So it's time to roll. I think he's going to play well. If we give him a clean pocket, I think he's going to play well. I was watching some practice footage. He was throwing some tight stuff. He was throwing some spirals. throwing some nice. Of course, everybody throws spirals and skeleton drills, in practice. But I really liked the way he was throwing the ball. It was really impressing me. We have somebody rising from the dead here. He's in. Was I doing
Chris?
That bad? You were like, I gotta go save this kid. He's flaming
I jumped
out.
on and I was watching and I just felt terrible. I didn't realize you were going to be alone. Where's Chris at?
Who knows? I've been asking that for 6 weeks.
Chris is fired. I'm gonna hang out with you for a minute.
You're
we'll be
fired.
all right.
So yeah, I kind of let him know a little bit what was going on with you at the beginning of the show while you were laying out. So good to see you upright though.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to tell everybody kind of what's going on. So they don't, I'm not dying. I don't think. I have we'll go back away. Story time with Cotton. Back in a long time ago, when I was in the military, I got really, really, really sick. Ended up with Lyme disease. We'll just put it that way. In the Army's infinite wisdom, they deployed me with like half my face not working, called Bell's palsy. And I never got treatment for it. So I have a lot of long-standing issues with that. Well, I had a dental procedure for a tooth that I had cracked, and being a guy, it'll be fine. Well, it got infected. That procedure caused the infection to spread everywhere, and so I am like super sick. And then on top of that, I have COVID. So it's been a fight for about 2 weeks, but we're okay. I'm gonna jump in here for a little while, and
Brutal.
I see you got the whole Nick Saban vibe going on.
That's it.
I like it. He's like, let me wait till Cotton's not on the show to do this.
So this the story behind this hat, the Nick Saban, you can't buy these Nike hats anymore. But the Nike brand ones, they don't make anymore because for whatever reason the straw hats are done by somebody else. So when Saban got hired in 2007, and that Sports Illustrated dropped with him on the cover in this hat and this vest.
I remember.
So I immediately went to Bama Fever here, bought 3 of these hats, one for me, one for my dad, one for my father-in-law, and then we got my dad the vest for Christmas.
Where did you find the vest? I looked for that vest for years and could not find it.
I can't remember where we found it. It was 2007. I mean, I want to say Amazon, but Amazon wasn't as the fires, back in 2007. Was even around back then. So I can't remember where we found it, but we got it for him for Christmas anyway. So I've got my hat here, and as you can see, it's a hole in the front. I mean, the band is like light pink now. I mean, it's seen its better days. And so I'm like, I need to replace this hat. So I go looking for a new hat. Can't find Nike one anywhere. It's a different brand now. And so I go to the Bama store. No good. I got them there. They're not the same. I'm just devastated. So I'm going to search an eBay. So my thought now, I'm going to buy one from just a different team and just yank the ribbon off and put my old crusty ribbon on there just so I can have a fresh hat.
I like it.
So that was the plan. And so, and of course, as y'all know, last year we lost my father-in-law. And so a few months ago, we were going through the closet, his stuff at my in-laws' house, and up in the closet sat this hat, unworn, brand new. You can see, brand new. My father-in-law never wore it. He put it in the closet and I guess forgot about it and never wore it. And I pulled it out and it was brand new. And I was like, Paul, God bless you, man. Rest in peace. Thank you for the last gift of not wearing this hat. So I just got to get the bill kind of broken back in. It's been sitting up in a closet. But anyway, so my dad's vest, rest in peace. My father-in-law's hat, rest in peace, both of them. So shout out to them. Oh, and then our other friends hopping in. We got some other guests tagging in.
Since you've got Tobias to tag team, I'm going to bounce out. Thanks for the well wishes, everybody. Emergency, got it. I'm going to put some of these up. Appreciate you, T-Wheat. Thank you, Kat. Roll Tide, everybody. I'll see you.
Get rest, man. Get better.
Okay. Bye.
Tagging out. There he is. Tobias, the man.
What's going on? You dressed like Nick Saban today.
That's it. I am.
You dressed like Saban at practice. Yeah.
That's exactly what that was with the intent. in honor of fall practice, I was busting out the fall practice gear. Yeah, yeah. So what's up, Tobias? Long time no see, my friend.
Yeah, man. See, you guys are doing great work with those guests and everything. And surprisingly, they're feeling their best behavior. But the cool thing about those guests, you get to learn about those other teams, and they are hot take merchants like we see on the big networks. They actually do their homework. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, Tobias, your volume is popping bad. You're crackling in and out bad, so it's tough to understand you. Just FYI.
Hold on 1 second.
Little technical difficulties here. We'll let him sort that out. Anyway. So this is the longest month of the year. August is, because we're all salivating for football, and then we have to wait and hear about practice and scrimmage and practice and interviews and press conferences and interviews and practice footage and scrimmage. No scrimmage footage, but practice, just more practice drills. And it's like, just give me football now, please. I need live games. I need pads and cleats. I need hitting. I need speed. I need it. You want this, don't you? Yes, we need this. Yeah, Florida State's going to get trucked, man. That quarterback he'd rather check his butt can cash, just FYI. Yes, I'm with you, T-Weed. Bust out the vest. Yes, said more vests. Who's playing next Saturday, Lance? Is that like week 0 game? I don't know. I can't remember who's in that game. Agreed. Less than 2 weeks. We're getting there. The fall camp stuff is the worst, though. Oh my gosh, the worst, because you're just wanting football so bad. You just want football so bad. Let's try this again here. There he is. Let's try this again.
That sound better now?
Smidge. Keep talking. Let's see.
Right. Hopefully I sound better, because that's what I get for trying to cheap out on AirPods. I'm going to take this off. There you go.
Do you have the plug-in ones?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and go like
better.
Total ghetto old school here with no microphone.
Yeah, that's way better. There we go.
Volume, and there we go. All right, we good now.
I think so. It's still a little crackly, but it was better than the AirPods that you had in, or whatever the headphones you had in. That's the beauty of live stuff, man. You get to go through tech stuff. It took me like 20 minutes to pair my AirPods to this thing because I don't know, the Bluetooth mess. Yes, agreed. Did y'all see that clip? It was on, I think it was on X, and it was like Castellanos getting led out of the club in handcuffs, and it was like a little person, and they were walking him out, and he was one of those little people. Man, I was in tears. All right.
There we go.
It's a little better.
All right, cool. I turned my Wi-Fi off too, just in case, So,
yeah.
All right, going straight phone action.
So I was talking about that clip. I don't know if you saw that clip on X earlier, but it was Thomas Castellanos getting let out of the club and in handcuffs, and it was that little person.
Man, I saw that, and the thing I hear people always talking about Gus Malzahn. He gave Alabama fits. One, he gave Nick Saban fits. This isn't a Nick Saban defense anymore. So not to Nick, but we gotta admit that was Cam Newton and Nick Marshall, who was slippery as all get out. He gave everybody trouble. So let's just be real here.
Well, those two teams went undefeated and lost, and the other one lost 2 games, and the second one being the national title game. So I don't know that Castellanos is Cam Newton or even Nick Marshall.
He got benched at Boston College, and I don't even know who the name of the backup was. So being real with you, it's just one of those cases where the media, and this goes for a lot of teams that we get a lot of hype, they get overly excited about transfers.
Yeah.
There's a reason he was available as an upper class. He wasn't like a Lonigan or a Holstein where they weren't going to play because established guys ahead of them. And as we are seeing, Nick Saban did not miss evaluating those guys,
Yeah. True. Yeah, and that's right. All comments pop. That's what I was looking for. That's it. Trick plays and RPOs, and one might get busted and the guy can take off. You don't see a lot of Gus offenses with 15, 16, 17 play drives, 7-minute drives. They're fast as they can go, get the defense right back on the field.
And plus, that's Central Florida offense.
This is all you need to know about FSU's talent quarterback evaluation.
That is true. And plus, the UCF offense has not been that good in the Big 12. There's a reason he left to take an OC gig. If the offense was popping like that, in the Big 12 not known for defense, he would be there right now still. They won't be mad at him at UCF. Let's just be real.
Yeah. Well, he's not really a Bill O'Brien kind of quarterback. O'Brien doesn't like to run the ball, and about got Bryce Young killed. Bryce got himself killed almost once in the Arkansas game.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another diatribe I'll go on. Now, I'm with you, T. I mean, we all you're right. It wasn't great against the run last year, but that was last year. This is much different. This will not be the same team. Defense, offense, top to bottom, inside out, everything is different. So I'm not saying that we're suddenly going to not be able to get run against, but I think the defense last year was just kind of learning. They got better as the season went on. Ignore the Oklahoma game.
And Jeff, here's the other thing. Those players were recruited to play in Saban's system. That's a whole different system, and they really had no real time to learn anything. Because you got to remember, this staff came together like February, just being real, and you had a lot of people leave that team. There's a reason they had to start so many freshmen DBs, and you had so many new faces up front because a lot of guys left. Now, I was glad Shaheem Otis left because he kind of stunk. But some of those players, so you lost those players, then you put in a new system. I think fans got to understand, the first year is always a wash. And I will say this to the end. 9-3, let's say 9-4, for building this coach a long term for Caleb Moore was the best thing that happened to him. Because if they went 11-1, 10-2, players were like, well, we still winning. What's the problem?
Yeah. I mean, it works. So we don't got to listen to you. We got to change anything. So yes, I agree that. And losing to Vanderbilt, they needed to eat all that crap for losing to Oklahoma. And that's all we heard all year. Vanderbilt. So this team, the staff, the group, this new era needed something like that to galvanize them in an off season, to have to listen to it and hear about it and read about it every time they get on social media or whatever. And it's like, now they're coming in like, okay, y'all about to get it now. Like now it starts. Now it's about year one's about to start.
Yep. And these players want to be there. They want to play for their staff. Bingo. That's the thing you got to look at. Because folks got to remember also last year, that loophole that none of us knew about until the coach Saban retired, where those teams could poach Alabama, but the portal when it was closed, Alabama was kind of screwed. They couldn't get anybody. It was kind of like when you left the club back in the day and you're in a drought, you got to take what you can get. Petunia Pig might be available. That's about it.
You got to get a slug buster.
Yes. We call those the Desert Queens when you deploy. Yes, we call them Desert Queens when you deploy. But people got to understand, because all these people saying, oh man, you don't make the playoff this year. One, we're in a system where they pick the teams. And they don't care about that. One, the strength of schedule Alabama was considered. They would have made it if Clemson didn't beat SMU. Just be real. But you still with a selection committee that had Indiana firmly in, despite not beating, I don't know they beat any top 25 teams last year. So, and also this, Jeff, people love saying that Nick Saban left Caleb Moore for Ferrari. He left him a Maserati. It looks good on the outside, has a fancy name, But when you turn that engine on, it sounds like a lawnmower. It has terrible resale value. Sorry. Because if this team was that stacked, you ain't going to have no receiver transferring to Kentucky as his best option.
If the team was stacked, he wouldn't have left. If he thought the team had a shot at a ring, he would not have walked away from it. He would have gone one more go. But he did not. He knew this team was not going to win a ring, and who can blame him? He decided to call it.
And we were lucky to even lose only one game that year, regular season. We being real with you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, sometimes that ball might not bounce their way the next year, and it happened. And like I say this, Jeff, I think when people saying Ryan Grubb is the magic elixir to fix everything, that's Kalen DeBoer's offense. He just calls the plays. And the talent on this year's team is not the talent on last year's team. He doesn't have Elijah Pritchett as his starting right tackle this year. And he have a quarterback that fits the system better because you're a Steelers fan. You saw Russell Wilson last year. You saw how Sean Payton got rid of him. You hold the ball too long, you can't see it, and you run the sacks. Our last year's quarterback was Russell Wilson in a way. You can still win games with him, but there are limitations. And the system they want to run here is anticipation, knowing where to go to football. And I'm not knocking Milroe on that. You just have to build an offense dedicated to him and only his style. And your backup has to play that same style too. That's why Pittsburgh has Justin Fields last year. I just think that last year was just to get through it. He stuck by the quarterback because let's just get through the year. And it's kind of hard to have a quarterback controversy if you're the new coach come in and that quarterback, the incumbent, won the SEC the year before. It's hard to have a competition.
Right.
And I just think sometimes you just have to get through that year because Georgia was 10-2 the year Kirby took over. They went 7-5, lost to Vanderbilt. They can't stop glazing him right now. Urban Meyer had a rough first season at Florida. Nick Saban, LSU, rough first season. It's all about year two. And I think Bama fans also has to realize 10-2 is probably going to be a great year nowadays with the schedule demands. Yes. You're not going to have the depth as you used to. But 10-2 will get you in the playoff with the type of schedule Alabama plays every year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're not going to see many undefeateds anymore. You got to look at it almost with an NFL type mindset. You're going to lose a game or two. Like in the NFL, you're going to lose 3, 4, 5 games. In the NFL, that's the way it is. Some of them lose only 3, but that's just the way it is. You're never going to go undefeated in the NFL. And it's going to be hard to go undefeated now in college. It's too evenly matched out, and teams are too good, and things can happen on a Saturday. It's just the nature of the beast. So, yes, 10-2 is two losses, I think, is a fantastic year. I think if you go 10-2 every year, you're good. I mean, you got nothing to worry about. You're in the postseason.
And people talk, like even they expanded playoff to 16 to diminish regular season. Regular season doesn't matter. Okay, Ohio State losing Michigan, they don't care if a 16-team playoff, they're going to be mad. Alabama lose to Auburn, we don't care about it saying the regular season doesn't matter. It matters because you still have to be selected by a committee where we don't even have a straight criteria. College basketball has a set of metrics they go by. Why can't they do that in college football? That's the part that gets me.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Because the TV runs everything. So they got to line it up for the TV, for the TV networks.
Yeah. But basketball, they still have a selection show. Yeah. And it's like, you actually, even like say Alabama basketball, we'll use them because we're an Alabama show. They play one of the toughest non-conference schedules every year, and they aren't penalized for losing those games. They're actually encouraged. But we see team after year in college basketball who play a bunch of cupcakes get left out, even with a good record. All college football has to do that, and that will incentivize scheduling because Texas should not be penalized for losing Ohio State, which I think they will. Florida State playing Alabama, you should encourage those games instead of like, oh, you lost, you're done. But this team plays Houston Baptist. They won, so they're good. It doesn't make sense.
In a way, I do miss the days where if you lost a game, you knew you were out. So it was like every Saturday, you lose about 5 years off your life every Saturday.
It was rough. And we got lucky a couple of those seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get lucky sometimes.
Yeah. What was that year I think it was the year we beat LSU, that we needed Iowa State to beat Oklahoma State to get in. Was
that 11? The Brandon Whedon, Oklahoma State Cowboys, and he was like 28 playing quarterback for Oklahoma State.
Hey,
yeah,
guys,
somehow they lost.
Hey, Jeff, if they want the playoff to change, just let Alabama get in. But they got in at 11, they changed it to the playoff. They got rid of BCS. Alabama got in against Florida State. Actually, it was Texas that got over Florida State, but they had a tiebreaker over us, so they had to take Texas too. People remember that. Next thing you know, 12 teams. So if Alabama sneaks in again, we might go to 16 all of a sudden.
They'll change it up quick.
Yes,
the Alabama rules, when they get in, they can say, no, we can't see that. Change. We need more teams change. Now they're going to have 16 teams in a stupid playoff. There aren't 16 playoff-worthy teams.
It's the same thing as the NFL. Same thing as the NFL. How often your Steelers make the playoffs and get smashed in the first round? They have no business getting in, but hey, they're in.
We're going on a decade of that now, Tobias. We're going on year 10 of that.
How about you doing Sanders, by the way?
Hey, it's preseason week 1 against a bunch of guys that are going to be selling insurance in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But still, when you're put in the game, you still got to make plays, regardless of who it's against, who's going to be on the team or who's not going to. When you're put in there, you've got to make plays, regardless of what's around you. If he went out there and sucked, he would be getting eviscerated. So, yes.
Yep.
Yes, yep. Caleb. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Tim. Dang, those comments come in. Every year Penn State greases in.
Jeff, that's my other target. Sorry, the national media loves Penn State when they made a deep playoff run. They played SMU and Boise State. I went to the Boise game because it was dirt cheap out here in Phoenix. And they have no quarterback. Here's the other thing. I hate to say it, national media. Drew Allard stinks against good teams. I'm sorry. I cannot look at you seriously if you could complete a pass against to a wide receiver on your squad against a good team in Notre Dame. So, I'm sorry, if you're 6'5", 240 with a rocket arm and you're in school your senior year and you play all those years, you ain't that good. He's supposed to be in the league. And it's just like the media is so lazy. It's like, okay, whose quarterback came back to school? We know who he is, so they're good. Clay Tomlin getting all this credit for playing so-called well, and they would never end the Texas game. They lost at home to Louisville by double digits.
Well, speaking of that, there's a quarterback at Texas that's already been crowned the greatest quarterback in the SEC, simply based on the last name on the back of his jersey.
It's not his fault. He's a quiet kid. He doesn't say a word. I don't know what the kid sounds like.
Nobody does. They don't. The Mannings don't talk until they retire, and then you find out that they're all funny as hell.
Yeah.
Nobody knew Peyton Manning was that funny or Eli.
No. If you want a funny Eli Peyton moment, just go on Twitter and search for like the Manning cast with The Rock when Kyler Murray threw that terrible pass in his zone, and The Rock turned tequila up and started drinking tequila. That was hilarious. But
oh gosh, yeah.
But here's the thing with Texas, right?
Pretty good.
Question for you, Jeff: how is a team number one in both polls, who's replacing 4 out of 5 offensive linemen, including the left tackle? I think he went top 10, Kelvin Banks. And one of your other tackles who's competing for the job this year is injured. You lost a lot of offense, a brand new quarterback, and you're starting at Ohio State game 1. And whose coach could beat Gunnar Stockton when Kirby was hiding him? And I'm gonna use all this logic when people bash Ty Simpson. Arch Manning was that good. Why couldn't he start over Quinn Ewers? I saw him in the preseason. He was horrible. So if we can use that logic on one guy, we got to use it on the other.
Yeah. I mean, I that's why preseason polls are stupid to me. We don't know anything about any of these teams other than some fall camp and some internet fodder and some social media banter. Other than that, all these lists are based off last year. And it's like nobody cares about last year anymore. Like, stop with these stupid polls. Put a poll out in week 6 when we actually know something about some of these teams. It's ridiculous. And then everybody goes berserk, but too high, too low. Fast forward 3 weeks in, that preseason list is going to look totally different. Half those teams won't even be in the top 25 anymore.
You know what the problem is with that? Like, the problem, I don't mind the polls. The problem is that they don't shake them up. You know?
No. It's like Texas is one. Now they have to be beaten out of number 1. They haven't earned number 1. They've been given number 1. And if they run the table, well, not run the table, but it's like they can't fall out of it. They have to lose 3 or 4 games to fall out of it. They don't have to work their way up and earn that ranking because they've already been given it. Based off what? Arch Manning?
Honestly, even though I have my doubts about Drew Aller, I can see them giving to Penn State because a lot of guys are actually back. They do have a good defense. Now, I don't know about the quarterback, but still. Then Clemson, everybody is propping them. I'm like, guys, the only reason they made the playoff was because of the technicality. They didn't beat one single SEC team. They lost three games against the SEC. They lost by double digits at home to Louisville. They got 4 losses. And no one was talking about Clay Klubnik as a first-round pick till he played halfway decent and still got whooped at Texas. That same defense is there.
They don't care about tape. All you have to do is show one little sliver of potential, and you're now the favored to be the top pick in the draft because Klubnik is favored to be the number 1 pick. Until Ty lights it up and kicks him out of that spot.
Yeah, can I ask you a Ty question? I was telling my dad, talk to him today. If he has a 2nd round grade, go to the draft. Just go. Because these teams are guaranteeing 2nd round salaries. And you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to be like Carson Beck. You have a bad year and you drop. So I think 2nd round nowadays as a quarterback, and plus as a 2nd round pick as a quarterback, you don't have a fifth year option. You get your 2nd contract quick, and you most likely may land at a better squad than you would as a top pick in the draft. So if I'm Ty, you get 2nd round, get out of there, man. You know,
it just a lot of it depends on injury. A lot of it depends, I think, how the season finishes. If we lose in the semifinal, I could see him unfinished business. I want to come back and win a ring. You know, guys are staying now because you can make the money in college. You know, a lot of guys were bouncing early because they're just trying to get paid, get their mama out of wherever, buy a house for their family. You know, get paid themselves. But now that you can get paid in college, you're going to see a lot of 5 and 6 year players, 4, 5, and 6 year players now, unless you're just a lottery pick, like Joe Burrow in 19. You know, unless you're top 5 pick, and
gotta go.
You're out. Yeah, you're out.
You don't have a scholarship, son. You got to get out of here.
You got to go.
Yeah, and I wonder how that affects Keelan Russell next year. Because all you need is 1 year of film to make the league. But I think Ty got it. That's a tough decision with the board. Well, he pushed him out because you got to get this freshman in who has at least 2 or 3 more years here. Or this guy here saying, hey, he may go somewhere else. That's Oklahoma had to go through that with Dylan Gabriel and Jackson Arnold. Even though we watched the bowl game and Jackson Arnold stumped that bowl game. Throw picks everywhere.
Never forget Oklahoma chose Jackson Arnold over Dylan Gabriel. Never forget that.
Yeah. And the coach now is on a hot seat, and he has to take a quarterback now. Everybody's hyping up who fatten up on Mountain West opponents. And some of those games he stuck into. Hey, but he's a transfer, so we love him.
That's it.
Yes.
Number 1 transfer portal signee. Like, is that a flex? I'm still not sure that's a flex.
Who's our quarterback next year when he's gone?
We signed the best worst player. Isn't that what that really is? If you sign the top transfer target, isn't that the best worst player? I don't know. We get transfer.
Who's our quarterback next year?
Who?
Who's the young guy? Yeah.
Right? Honestly, if we give Ty a clean pocket, he's going to be a one and done. If we give him a clean pocket, like we did Mac in 2020, Mac doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the most athletic. If you saw him on the street, you'd think he sold insurance, or you think he was worked in a law firm. But he got a clean pocket and elite talent around him, and he lit the SEC up. And I think Ty has that, and Ty's more athletic than Mac ever dreamed of being. I think
he can run.
He can run, and I think if we give him time. I was saying this last year, but obviously he couldn't bench Milroe last year. He had to hold the team together last year. Milroe should have been benched twice last year. A lot of guys should have been benched last year. A lot of guys in the offensive line should have been benched last year. But you can't just go benching players in year zero. You had to keep the squad, keep the locker room together. Now that we've gone through 3 windows of people to leave, and all these people have stayed now, I've been saying all that's out the window now. So your job's up for grabs. Like if you're out there sucking, they're gonna yank you. And everybody's like, how could Ty not beat out Jalen if Ty couldn't even beat out Milroe with 2 separate staffs? You can't. 2 years ago, you can't really. I mean, he lost the job to Milroe, but last year was always going to be Jalen Milroe, regardless of whatever. He was always going to be QB1 the whole year, no matter what. And that's out the window now. So, and I said last year, I thought Ty, if you sat down and gave DeBoer truth serum and said who could run your offense better, he would have said Ty Simpson all along. Just because I think, like you said, the anticipation throws. Michael Penix was so good at the anticipation throws. He had a howitzer on his shoulder, but he could anticipate where you're going to be, which is why him and Odunze are just lighting up that year.
Yeah, and here's the
Milroe
thing
struggled
also
with that part of the game.
Yeah, and it reminds me of Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Not saying you can't win games, but there's a cap. And I don't care if Ryan Grubb was there last year. He doesn't run that type of offense. So that helped him out that way. So I don't care who the OC was, because that's not how he's bred to do offense. He's not Greg Roman, in the NFL.
Yeah.
So that's why I hate people. Well, this guy's here. He go magically change everything. You got a talent infusion. And I think the main thing with Ty, because I didn't realize Milroe turned the ball over 17 times last year. That includes fumbles and picks.
He had 5 in the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, he can't overcome that. That's how bad Auburn was last year. But Ty, because if Ty just throw like 5 picks, may have a fumble or 2, because things happen. This team's gonna do great, and I think also the team goes, your quarterback goes. If you're inconsistent, everything around you inconsistent, and your quarterback. I learned this. The funny way how I learned about offensive line play is I'm a Buccaneers fan, and I went through 5 years of Jameis Winston. I don't know how you get 100 turnovers in 5 years, but how he held the ball. He took a lot of sacks. And then Brady comes in, steps up, ball is out, knowing where to go with it. Not careful with it, because turnovers will beat you. Can I tell people turnovers also? That bowl game last year, Michigan couldn't move the ball against a church league. But when you turn the ball over and give them a short field, the defense can't do nothing. Your defense can't pitch a perfect game. And I think with Ty, use the people around you, because you don't have to be spectacular. Great quarterback play is actually boring. It's actually routine and mundane.
Right. I mean, Tom Brady is like, he never made any spectacular athletic plays, but he was greatness personified. But like you said, he never like jumped off your screen. Like, can you believe he just made that play? He just always made the right play. Yeah.
And like our defense, right? I think the best friend of a defense, the way you make your defense great is play less defense. There's some drives you can't be feast or famine. Some drives you may need an 8-play drive to get them a blow. And that's where a running game comes in. That's where you move the chains as a passer. Because I think this defense with a year, because Kane Womack has said out his own mouth, he learned some things. He knows his personnel now, what they can and can't do. And because they didn't have bowl practice to learn these guys. They didn't really learn these guys in the spring practice, and then fall practice. Then you have to go with what you have. So the thing I like about this staff, Jeff, is they use the Bill Belichick method. Why do we win? Why do we lose? And they done that. And you can see how they're different. Look at how many big receivers we have now. You know,
they're all 6'5".
Thank you,
Brian Williams, Jeremy.
Yes.
I mean, like the new signees, the recruits, they're all tall. Lots of years short, but most of them are very tall. Tall receivers.
Yes. And the offensive line recruiting, because the one thing I like about Ryan Grubb, he's an offensive line guy at heart. So that's a good thing. And Coach Cap, I never heard of this man before he came last year, but this guy can recruit his butt off. So that right there, these guys are bringing in talent. These guys have built a culture of togetherness where these guys are always together. They're taking time out of their day to help recruit, and the parents love their staff. And because what's his name? Keelan Russell's mama straight up said the communication, the transparency, they love that because at the end, I don't care about your NIL, you still sending your baby away. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
And
you gotta trust them.
Yep, you gotta trust them. And so that is what helping them out. And that's why I think with these hot take guys talking about Alabama's broke, you can't be broke if you got a top 5 recruiting class 2 years in a row. But it's about those relationships. It's about those parents are trusted, because we're all in our 40s at least. These parents are on social media. You know, they will put you out there. But like, look at Xavier Griffith's mother. She's out there. These parents are texting with each other. They're friends. And when Keelan Russell took her funeral, in that funeral, all those players were together there, telling the board, hey, some coaches might have still said, I'm going to recruit. He was at the funeral. So guess what? Those parents are like, if that happened to my family, I know he would care too. That stuff goes a long way.
Long ways. I agree with this, T. If you don't adjust in the field, you're gonna lose games. I mean, they didn't have a lot of room for adjustment last year. They didn't have the team to fit the scheme. They were trying to plug square pegs into round holes all over the place, just trying to get through the year. Think about it, 9-4 really isn't a terrible season considering they lost 30 players. He lost his OC and his offensive line coach 2 weeks before practice that he had already hired. You know, I mean, so he had to fill two staff positions on a whim right before the season started. So, I mean, if you peel the onions back, 9-4 really wasn't a terrible season considering what he was dealing with. Inconsistency on the offensive line, inconsistency at quarterback, inconsistency on the staff, you know, learning a new team, learning new players from across the country, replacing the GOAT, losing 30 players off your roster, including your best defensive player. I mean, he was dealing with a lot. And so, you know, the fact you got a 9-4 season out of that last year, I think is pretty good. I mean, Nick Saban lost 6 games his first year. Kirby Smart took a 10-win team and lost 5 games his first year. Like, the transition year is real. I mean, some people catch lightning in a bottle. You know, Malzahn in his first year got to the national championship game, but he never got close after that. So it's, you know, sometimes people hit lightning in a bottle in the first year, but traditionally year one is a struggle.
I'll say this also. For everyone who's glazing Sark, Kalen DeBoer has actually had more success on the P4 level than Sark. He's actually played for a natty. He's undefeated versus Sark. He has a conference championship also, beating that same Dan Lanning, everybody's glazes. And I still don't know the big game he went. Oh, by the way, he beat Penn State, but everybody who's good beat Penn State. So what I'm saying is that he's a leader, because as a coach, you have to be a leader, because this is the best indicator of his leadership. Nick Sheridan State, he got demotion and he stayed. That right there shows what type of culture this man has. And it looks like his coaches may not leave unless they get a big job. Because the one issue Saban had was his coaches left, but they also took guys on the staff also. So you can do a lot of replacing. And let's be real, Saban ran out of guys to hire after a while. You know? Yeah. Because everybody's gone.
So I wound up with Tommy Rees.
Yep.
It was, I mean, nobody else.
Yeah. And so this guy, these people stayed with him. You have a guy, even though, Buffalo, you'll get fired anyway, you know, but Linquist took that gig and found out he's one heck of a recruiter, you know. And so the talent acquisition part, that was the only question I had at first, because you couldn't judge it on Washington because they don't have the high school football base. But we know about Washington, that program historically, if they have a good coach, they're gonna compete, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he got the resources at Alabama to recruit, and you're seeing the results there, because Alabama didn't have a big portal class because a lot of people didn't leave. And let's be real, at this portal class who left, who did we miss? And I'm even including Justice Haynes on that one. Did we miss anybody we're going to miss?
Mm-mm. There's a reason they were available.
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying that. I mean, now granted, Caleb Downs, a different story. That guy, he's gonna be a first round pick no matter where he plays.
Yeah.
So here, Ohio State, if he transfers to Oregon, he'd be a first round pick there too. So yes, losing him was a big deal, but the rest of him was like, okay. Oh, Roydale Williams transferred. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Isaiah Bond got the most hype just because of the Gravedigger play. But you know, we didn't lose a 1,500-yard receiver when he left. We lost the guy that made the one of the most memorable catches. And then he made some great plays in that Georgia SEC championship game. But it wasn't like we were losing a 1,500-yard receiver or a 1,200-yard receiver. His production was replaced immediately with Ryan Williams and Jeremy, or Jeremy Bernard. You can pick one of those two. So, it's the guys in the portal are there for a reason. Usually, I mean, it's you get rare cases here and there, but most of the time they're in the portal because they can't get on the field where they're at.
Yeah, you know, Jeff. One thing also for the people who love talking about the portal, think that's the magic elixir. You start to not see stars in the portal anymore. Teams are paying their too deep to stick around. They give them the raises. Now, if you're a third stringer, you want to be out, hey, I'm sorry, good luck to you. That's what's going on. So unless your coach retires or leaves, you might not have that many stars in the portal anymore. You might find a quarterback who just stuck in the depth chart, but you're not going to find that many stars there. And there are some stars. Texas Tech will take them all anyway, so good luck.
True. Yeah, we hadn't been big portal shoppers. Man, we'll plug a hole here and there. Jahmyr Gibbs comes to mind.
JMO.
You know, Parker Brailsford, I think, is going to be a big deal, and Bernard too. You know, transferring in. So, but we don't go every year and sign 10 players from the portal, 10, 11 players for the portal. It's normally 4 or 5, just to plug some holes, some depth. Dewberry, you know, for offensive line. You should always sign 2, 3 offensive, defensive linemen in every portal just for numbers, just for depth on those 2 spots. I mean, even if you have 5 bona fide starters, you should always sign an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman in the portal, just to plug, just to have it in there. Yeah, I agree, Eric D. I was a little surprised that we lost him, but you know, it is what it is. Bama ain't for everybody. So
he's always hurt too.
Yeah. T, let last year go, man. All you're talking about is last year. Let last year go. It has nothing to do with this year. Everything's different. Forget about last year. Let it go.
Can I ask him a question, T?
Yeah.
How did he feel it was Bryce Young's last year when it had 18 penalties at Tennessee and gave it the most points in school history, or like double-digit penalties at Texas that year? A lot of that was still going on under Saban, but they won games. And the reason they didn't make the playoff, the CFP and Bryce Young's last year,
so what?
Were those Tennessee games.
I'm talking about this. So what? No, I'm listening to you, but I'm just telling him, so what? They can't grow. They can't get better. They can't spend a year getting better. Give me a break.
Yeah, so what happens is, because what happens is realistic expectations, 3 out of 4 years, you should be a playoff team with Alabama's resource. 3 out of 4 years. Because you're going to have 1 year somebody may get hurt. Some team in the SEC may have a special year.
Yeah.
You only got so many spots. Things happen. But the national championships every year, that ain't gonna happen, especially in a playoff scheme that playoff format where you got to get picked by a bunch of guys in a room. So I just want to get in the playoff and see what happens. And I think this team is going to be in the playoff. And I think they win the SEC, to be honest. I didn't think they would win the SEC last year. I thought they could get into playoff. But I think this team has as good a shot as anybody to win the SEC because of our coaching staff. Because, Jeff, I say this one last thing also. Saban's quality of assistance went down as well. They compound that with him getting older, where he can't. My dad's like in his early 70s. You can't do what you used to, even yelling wise, you know. And the brain was still there, but his quality of assistance went down. He had Pete Golding. Bill O'Brien to me, he was good, but he didn't commit to the run. But they were still putting up 40. But you saw it happen. Tommy Rees was his next best option. He had to dig up, what's that dude's name? Kevin Steele. And that was all he get.
Man, did he ever?
Yeah. So the quality of assistance went down. That also means when you lose those position coaches, because when Sark left, got the D-line coach that went with him to Texas. He's in the league now. He took him.
Davis.
He took some other people. Yeah. Kirby took people. So Saban Kirby took Dan Lanning. You have to hire all these other people as well for their jobs. And as an older Saban guy, it's hard to uproot your family. They do 1 year, and that next coach may not keep you.
That's true, and that was starting to creep in the last couple of years. Was you knew the end was closer than the beginning. So it just, and at some point in living rooms, they were using that as a tool. Like, the guy's not going to be around another couple of years. He's going to retire here in the next couple of years. You know it's coming.
Yeah. And the one thing I appreciate about Caleb Downs transferring, he didn't play around with it. He just moved on.
He was gone day 2. He was cleaned out and gone.
You know what? I appreciate that. He didn't play around with it. He didn't go around to the brain. And they ended up getting Keon Sapp. And Bray Hubbard was a revelation. But I appreciate that. If you know you don't want to be here, hey, go to Ohio State. And that's the key. Look where he transferred to compared to some of these other guys transferred to. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was one player that went to an elite program, unless I'm missing someone.
Yeah. Justice Haynes went to Michigan, and I think that they're going to pound the rock, but I don't think he's elite, if you get what I'm saying. He's a good player, but I don't think he's elite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I go with that. But I think, I mean, like I said, it all starts up front. If the offensive line can just give him a clean pocket, if, Caden Proctor is playing for the lottery pick this year.
Mm-hmm. Top 5 pick.
Left tackles go after their junior year if they're that dude, man. You don't see a lot of elite left tackles as a senior. You get Zach Steen. You get your Zach Steens if you're a senior left tackle. You know what I mean? Or whatever, or Anthony, whatever his name was, Steen, the guy from Vanderbilt.
Anthony Steen.
Zach Steen. Anthony Steen. Was that, or Zach, whatever his name was from Vanderbilt.
Yes, he's on the Eagles now.
Yeah, he's like a backup guard on the Eagles. There's like 6 Alabama offensive linemen on the Eagles.
Have you guys heard anything about the right tackle spot? If it's Wilton Farby,
I'm not going to put T's comment because he's dropping an F-bomb in it. My mom watches the show. But yes, I agree. We're better scheme to help the right tackle if Formby is struggling. Whoever the right tackle is, we know it's not going to be Tyler Steen. That's it. We know it's not going to be. Elijah Pritchett. Thank God.
Thank goodness.
But I think Formby was but for one game, but he played in several games after that. I don't remember him getting a bunch of flags and holdings after that one bad game that he had.
There you
go. He played a lot after that.
There you go. Because if you don't hear his name, he's doing good.
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
Yep. Because he just has to be solid. Because people they're going to target him. And I think, hey, help him out. Build his confidence. See, that's the other thing, that confidence. His confidence was shot against South Florida. And we just got to be honest. He wasn't ready that year. Offensive line, I don't care if you got 5 stars, 12 stars. This is a developmental position because every highly rated 5-star offensive lineman was a left tackle. There's many that play center. There's many that play guard. And it takes like 2 years or something. Even Caden Proctor should not have played as a true freshman, but that's all we had.
That's all we had. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all we had. You're right. That's all we had. Absolutely. And same deal. You go with what you got, but I think they're better this year. I wasn't a big fan of Coach Cap. I didn't see really much improvement from the offensive line as you would expect as the season went on. But I think, like I said, year 0 is a wash. Year 1 is where it started. The second that Michigan game ended, the previous regime or the previous whatever ended right then, and everything was clean slate after that. All the discipline issues, all the culture. Oh, I've never seen culture like this. Whatever. All that is gone. Forget about all that. Everybody had a clean slate. Now, if we're in week 5 and we're seeing all the same foolishness and the same rigmarole and the same penalties and the same bum effery going on, then we can say, okay, these guys don't know what they're doing, or what's happening here. We've lost something, but I don't put any stock in anything I saw last year other than some growth and of course Ryan Williams tailed off at the end of the year. But I don't put a ton of stock in last year other than just DeBoer getting his feet wet, learning the lay of the land, learning the team, and the Michigan game ended. Milroe should have been benched that game. A lot of guys should have been benched that game. But you just got to ride with it. Game over. Close the book. Move on. We're starting fresh. Everybody clean slate. Here we go with year 1. And that's what I'm thinking about this year is year 1. This is the real year 1.
Yeah, because Ryan Williams should not have been wide receiver 1 last year.
No, he should not have been our most targeted player.
Yes. That shows how the talent was because he was supposed to be a senior in high school. So, of course, he was going to wear it down because he came in during fall practice. He didn't have the spring practice to get his body right. So he's never going to be a big guy. He's going to be like Marvin Harris, a senior, in my opinion, build-wise. And but now he has a year of just growing up, Yeah. And, but the thing about him, I will always say he's Kalen DeBoer's most important crew guy. He did decommit. He was like their Julio. Julio's number 1 player in the country. They have. I remember they beat Oklahoma out for this guy. This was Oklahoma was rolling on the Bobs too.
He had to get Julio. Saban had to get Julio.
I don't care if he bought his mama a new house, got her a Range Rover. You got to do it.
I don't care.
Put it in my name.
Yes, that was the most important signing, I think. Well, in terms of
perception,
this is how it's going to be now. Obviously Tua was a huge signing, Bryce, all this stuff, but Julio at the time, we had to sign him to show, hey, we're back. Bama's back in the game. We're going to start signing top classes again. This ain't this Mike Shula era. That's we've got the guy now, and then he retired. He chased every coach out of the SEC in the next however many years. Every team had turned the coach and turned their coach over.
And Jeff, and look at Ryan. He's like the ultimate Gump. He is front and center, happy to be there. Always, we see these recruiting videos and pictures. He's there. It is not even his position group. He is there. That right there is a great message. Because I don't follow other teams recruiting like that. What's going on? So I can't speak for them. I'm not going to speak for Alabama to be fair. But that's a good message. Well, one of your best players who only been there a year is out there, and I agree right there. And I think they're going to move him around this year because they have better options.
Where Ryan Grubb comes in, and where a quarterback that's more consistent in the shorter mid-range game, and actually playing quarterback, reading, assessing check downs, where guys are going to be throwing a guy in anticipation, not waiting for him to turn around and fade, but anticipating throws. I think it's going to change a lot. I think it's going to help the offensive line because it's not going to be riding the sides anymore or too many of those. The QB runs aren't going to be such a focal point. I think everything as a whole is going to contribute to each person being better. I think the offensive line is going to play better because they're not going to be in the same, the quarterback's going to be in a different spot. He's going to have gotten rid of the ball already. The scheme's already going to be here. I think everything is going to be different. I think Grubb's much better because of experience. Sheridan shouldn't have been the best offensive coordinator in the league last year. He'd never done it before, and he's doing it with an inconsistent quarterback, an inconsistent offensive line. So, Sheridan took a lot of heat last year, but he was put in almost an impossible situation. But he was not great last year. Sheridan struggled mightily. You could see it.
Jeff.
Come on now. Jalen had bad days, dude. Accept it.
Hey, Jeff, our probably one of our most unsung coaches is Jamarcus Shepard. That man wide receiver evaluations. Because last year Brooks was a 3-star. But
that's funny.
He has a type. And he big receivers to catch radius who are fast. And because Holman Wiggins, those evals are horrible.
Yeah, agreed on this.
And the run game, I think that with the new quarterback now who may have a better passing game, I'm talking about consistent passing game, may open that run game up as well. Because what happens is, I'm not a coach or anything, but I just know because I have a buddy that actually coached college football, right? He's an assistant, right? Out here. He showed me film. They had Milroe last year. I used Michigan as a sample. Oklahoma did as well. And actually the second half against Georgia. Milroe likes to bounce his runs outside. You even saw that run he had at Seattle where he cut it up. He might have gotten more yardage. They took that away. But also, teams blitzed him a lot because he didn't process quickly. So he's not going to hit that running back out the backfield or throw that slant. Because he's a mobile. Also, with him being a mobile quarterback, it's been statistically proven those guys take more sacks. But we're not saying he's terrible, a bad player. We're not saying that.
No, never said that.
He might have fit Gus Malzahn, prime Gus Malzahn better, in my opinion. But I just think that those type of things, because teams watch tape. Because who knows, a ton of recent Nick Saban came back when these teams had a whole season of film to watch. Because these players, the way you twiddle your fingers, they know what you're going to do. That right there showed. So there would have been some sophomore stuff. That's why I say those teams had them pegged. And we got to cut offensive coordinators of slack also. They only call what you can do. They're not going to call anything you can't do. Because they know you can't do it. And that's any quarterback. They're not going to call Bryce Young to run a read option. Because that's not his game. They're not going to call Mac Jones to do half QB power. That's not his game. I would love to watch that though. But I hope people get what I'm saying there. And but every concern is valid. Every question is valid. But this year is going to be a much better year because you guys got to remember, everybody hyping up Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. He had a month to prepare that guy at Notre Dame, and he still hit him. And the only reason Georgia lost that game was why? He turned the ball over Georgia's side of the field. Notre Dame did nothing. And Riley Leonard, everybody loved him. Guess what? His limitations in the pass game crept up against Ohio State. They were in that game, but he wasn't a good passer, and it bit Notre Dame. If they had a better passer, they might have won a national title. And I'm not talking throwing the ball. I'm talking about on time, in rhythm, knowing where to go when someone blitzes you. Riley Leonard didn't have that. Guess what happened? Ohio State's winning a national title. And Marcus Freeman said, we're done with these transfer quarterbacks now. That is true. I get you that right there. Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Jeff.
Can anybody hear me now? Make sure my mic's plugged in. Okay. Can anybody hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you.
All right. Technical snafus.
Oh, we good. We
Anyway,
good.
all
We
right,
good.
we're back in the game. We still here. Thanks, T. Appreciate you hanging with us.
Do not let T weep at the weekly press conference, because he gonna press the board.
Boy, he'll eviscerate poor old Debo, man. He would be ready for T.
He gonna be back in South Dakota. That's with T.
That's it. Vegas. Oh man, but yes, we got to run the football, and I think our running back room is nice. You know, we don't have any Najee Harris's in there, and we had 1,000-yard running back since when? 2020 was that our last 1,000-yard running back? Was
B-Rob, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. B-Rob. That's right.
He was the last running back standing. Here,
he's the Ty Simpson running backs. You know, could have left multiple times and waited his turn. So
you know what?
But I've said all along, if Ty does not turn the ball over,
we're winning.
This is like Captain Obvious. You don't have to be spectacular if you just don't turn the ball over. Let everybody else do around you. Just play, and the jury's out on him. I agree. We've seen nothing from Ty that lets us sit back and go, we're gonna light everybody up. We're going based off all of just the fact that he's been there so long, and based off the Mac Jones 2020 season, we got high expectations for Ty. And I'm trying to curb my own expectations, but I watch him throw 3 passes in scrimmage, and they're all good spirals, and I just get all giddy. I can't help it. But who knows? The games may start, and he might be terrible. He might be awful. He might be.
Yep. And the thing I like about him
might be great.
The thing that I liked about the board starting him, because it's not a this year play, it's a long-term play where it's like, hey, if you earn it, you don't have to leave. If you earn it, we'll give you a shot. If players may say, hey, I can get a shot. Now, if it doesn't work out, hey, I got a shot at least. And I think that's a big message there, because there's a lot of players that was there when Saban got there, and like a lot of players made way they turn. They said, okay, you're not my guy. Let's put this freshman in. And may not look good, even though they may like him. But the other reason I like the fact he's going with Ty is that you could always go to Austin Mack or Keelan Russell. But if you go to Keelan Russell now, you can't pull. You got to ride it out. And you're going to lose 3+ games with a freshman quarterback. True freshman. Because I don't care how talented these guys are. The speed of the game from high school to college is no joke. Why put them in this year? See what happens next year. Just be in position where we can blow some teams out and put him in for mop-up duty, just get some passes in there. Yeah. That's what you do. Because you let Ty take those lumps. If he sucks, turn to the kid then. But don't do it at the beginning.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. And like I said, if he sucks, you move on. Try Austin Mack. Try something else. And there's a chance Ty might suck. He might get out there and be terrible. He might get out there and look like Blake Barnett. And you're just like, okay, well, oops. But he deserves the shot, the chance to lose the job, so to speak. And I think we've got enough around him. If the front 5 can do their thing, I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about it. I think Caden Proctor's going to be better than he was the last 2 years as an older player, more mature, more experience, more physically, mature physically as well. I think that Cam Dewberry signing was going to be a big deal, especially with Roberts dinged up. Roberts isn't always the most technically sound offensive lineman, but that guy can bull. Man, that guy's when he gets you, it's over. But he's Bama all the way. So if they can tighten his game up, of course I like Brailsford. I think he's a great center. And then whoever right tackle. There's a lot of question marks in the offensive line. T's very, very correct in being worried about the offensive line. So But that's the most I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the receivers, the running backs. I think tight ends, we've got good tight ends or good enough tight ends to do what we need them to do. It's the offensive line is going to be the key to this whole thing. Because if Ty's running for his life, we're screwed.
Jeff, here's the other thing about the offensive line. Like what T was talking about, like establishing a run. The run game takes your will from you if you can't stop the run. The pass game doesn't take your will. It doesn't establish toughness. The run game establishes toughness. Also gives the offensive line confidence because Jaden Roberts, right? Run the ball. Go behind those big boys. And the other thing is, came the boys last year at Washington. I forgot the kid's name, who was a running back, but he had over like 1,200 yards. And that's what Michael Penix and those receivers. I think like now, like I said, they had an off season. I'm guessing, why do we win? Why do we lose? They run that ball. I think we'll be fine. They're gonna be a clunker or two in there. Every team has a clunker because they're human beings. You just want that clunker to get out of the way early and not against a 6-16 where they'll hurt your playoff selection. But the run game is a psychological thing that will actually take the will from a team.
Yes, we've seen it many a year. Many of Bama running backs, two-headed monsters, where each one getting about 20 carries. We've seen it for many years. Now the style of the game has shifted with the spread offenses and throwing 50, 60 times a game. I mean, the game has shifted, so you got to kind of adapt with the times. You can't just go out every year and say we're going to run the ball and play solid defense and win it every year. 3 yards in a cloud of dust doesn't win. You have to adapt a little bit, but you can stick with the core of being able to run the ball and play solid defense. Because, defenses now, if you give up 17 a game, you're going to lead the league in scoring defense. The days of the single-digit scoring defenses are a thing of the past. You won't ever see that again, I don't think. So I think if you 14, 15, 16 points a game from your defense, you're going to be in good shape.
Because you don't have the depth anymore.
Yeah.
To do that.
And everything's so fast.
Georgia had those guys stick around. Michigan, their last great defense, everybody stuck around. Ohio State last year, their guys stuck around. Alabama had a lot of guys stick around because LT Overton, if he just gets some of these sacks, because sacks are a drive killer. If he just finishes, we good. We got Justin Jefferson. Thank you, Diego Pavia, for that lawsuit. We got Justin Jefferson for another year. And that's big because Deontay Lawson coming off that injury. And the other thing about the board I like, he put these young guys in. He rotates these young guys in to get some snaps in real game action. You have to do that nowadays. Because the 3 years with the turn doesn't work anymore.
Well, all those lumps we took in the secondary last year, a lot of them were young mistakes. I mean, Bach was everything player in high school, and he got cooked several times last year. That's the difference in the speed of the college and high school game. But I think a lot of those guys took those lumps last year, and it just makes you better. Not everybody walks in and is elite from day one. You've got to earn your stripes, take your lumps, take your hits, learn to deal with the good and the bad. That's what makes you an elite player.
And they got better. They got better. And that's the thing, because Kane Womack said that last year. We're so young back there. They're going to take their lumps. He said that. And I remember that. And I was like, he ain't lying. And it rang true. But it's okay because, like you said before, that was year zero. Under those circumstances, because if we didn't have that portal loophole, those guys wouldn't have been playing. We would have had Dez Ricks playing. We would have had the guy who went to Ole Miss, Trey Amos. Those guys would have been the ones starting.
Second round draft pick, Trey Amos.
Yep. And Hale Downs might have still been there. But hey, you got to dump those guys in. Then look at Bray Hubbard. He was a revelation. He might be a day 2 draft pick when he comes out, because the guys everywhere knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He keeps the upward trajectory. He took some lumps last year too, but he made some plays. So I was excited.
Sabian Brown, I'm calling. I think he's a first round pick. He declares after not this season, but after the next season. Damani Jackson is going to play his way in that discussion this year because he has the physical tools, the speed, because he went to Lincoln Riley for 2 years. That's the problem. And for my recruiting nuts out there, Nick Saban said, because Damani Jackson said when he chose USC of Alabama, Nick Saban said, you will always have a place here. You didn't get mad. He said, hey, if you want to transfer, there's always a spot for you.
Give me a holla.
And that's what happened at Rose Bowl practice. Damani Jackson shook Nick Saban's hand, and he stayed anyway after Saban retired. Overton stayed anyway. That's the thing I'm more confident in because these players are locked in here. You can see the vibes from a mile away different than last year. There's a lot of uncertainty because you didn't know the guy. And that's understandable. But this year, they know their staff. Their parents are comfortable. These coaches are good. And I will rave about Jamarcus Shepard to the end. Because those guys, because what stuck with me when I saw that clip from the reality show they had, I didn't watch the show yet. But when he said, the only two guys taking notes is Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard and wondering why they getting the ball. They playing. And those guys like Prentice and what's the other guy? Law. They gone. They weren't taking the notes. And they gone.
No.
So
that's checked out about halfway through the year. Yeah.
Yep. That stuff goes along with what you do in that like in a practice room, in the meeting rooms. That right there goes a long way. The coaches see that. Hey, if you don't take notes, how are you gonna bond with the quarterback? You're not even paying attention. All Milrose warts aside, if you're not even taking notes on what to do, how can you be a rapport with the guy if you're not even being a student of the game when you're in?
I mean, this is like Captain Obvious stuff. It's like, come on now. It's the same thing when you're in school. You got to take notes. You can't study for a test and not have to take any notes. Like, come on now. Like you said, you can't know the plays and know the rapport and know your quarterback and know your offense if you're not taking notes, if you're not studying your notes.
Yes.
Ryan Williams supposed to be in high school. He's in there taking notes. Juniors in college are sitting in there not doing anything, checking out halfway through the year.
Everybody talk about Parker Burrows for 2 lights for the SEC.
No,
he should have won the Raymond Tafesa Center Award. He's great. He's leaving after this year. He might be a first round pick because he knows he's a center.
You don't want a 400-pound center.
No, give
me a break.
And, that's why, and like the young kid, he's from out here, Noah Carter, defensive end pass rusher. That kid has a lot of athletic tools. The kid was playing wide receiver also in high school as a deep pass rusher. Yeah. You may not see a whole lot this year, but the next year, just keep an eye on that guy. He committed to the board, and he went with him to Alabama. So that's another guy that who's young, who's athletic, who has some talent. Might take a little time, but I saw the tools there because his dad get his hair cut the same place I do. So
there you go. No, I said as soon as Brailsford announced he was transferring and those questions started coming up because he's only like 282 pounds or something. I was like, you don't want a ginormous center because he's got to pull, the guard's got to pull, but the center's got to be very mobile because the center is moving around a good bit. But with him, with the center, there was about leverage and angles and using the guy crossing you, using his weight against him, and for him, because I noticed a lot of those games, Sweat, the defensive lineman for Texas that just killed our poor center that year that we played in Texas. No, not Seth, the one that Dalcourt.
Dalcourt.
God. Ay. But he just slaughtered poor Dalcourt in that game in Austin. Yeah. But Brailsford checked him well because it was leverage. It was it was using him against himself. Barrett Jones was the best I ever saw at being able to block without ever touching the guy. It was crazy how many times Barrett Jones blocked somebody without ever basically laying a hand on him, almost olayed him or just kind of gave him a little shove as they were flying, blocking themselves. You know, it was crazy how good Barrett Jones was at that. And I noticed that with Brailsford is that he was a lot smarter than just pure physical, strength and fortitude. You know, he played a lot smarter, but Barrett Jones was the best at that.
Yeah, because Steph wasn't a big guy.
Sorry, Crimson. Didn't mean to give you PTSD there.
Hey, Dalcourt must have had pictures of Saban with a goat. How Saban kept thinking with him, man. That was terrible.
Poor Dalcourt. Respect Darian for being a Bama football player. Always loved, but man, was he awful at center. Oh gosh, he was so bad at center. And then that made him put Chris Owens at right tackle, and he was even worse.
Yes.
Like going into the season, I thought we were going to be fine at center because Chris Owens was going to, he played so well in the SEC championship game for Landon and then the championship game that I thought, okay, we're good at center. And then the camp starts and he's out at right tackle getting smoked. And we got Dalcourt at center getting whipped. And I'm like, this is horrible. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Poor Bryce,
that's
man,
why
he's ducking and dodging.
And that's why I've been so bullish on Bryce Young being the best Bama QB because he didn't have those parts that Tua did. He didn't have the line, the rideouts. Bryce Young last year at Alabama, they led the league in drops. He had the offensive line wasn't that good, and he still kept Alabama in the game against Tennessee.
He did. He did. I can't remember who the center was before Barrett Jones, because Barrett only played center his senior year. Barrett went right tackle, left tackle, guard, and center, or guard, tackle, center, however he went. But I don't remember who the center was.
How did he not make it in it? I was so shocked that Barrett Jones did not make it in the NFL.
So, funny story about that. I heard an interview with Barrett Jones one time, and he was talking about this, and I was shocked too because when he moved to center, I thought he's a lock for an NFL 8 or 9 year NFL career at center because he was so smart and he was such a good center. I thought he was perfectly built for center. So he said he was unfortunately drafted by the Rams. And he said, when you get drafted by the Rams and you're a center, who do you have to play against every day in practice in every scrimmage?
Aaron Donald.
Thank you. And he said, I was getting whipped by Aaron Donald every effing day in practice, and they decided I couldn't play. So they cut me. I said, oh man, poor Barrett Jones. Now he may have been tongue in cheek partly, but there's some truth to that if you step in there as a 4th or 5th round draft pick and you're having to block Aaron Jones or Aaron Donald, Aaron Jones and running back, Aaron Donald, prime Aaron Donald.
Yes.
I mean, he never had a shot. Poor Barrett Jones. He never had a chance.
But think about this, Jeff. I know they have a portal then, but that man is not have to buy a sandwich in Tuscaloosa ever in his life. It just shows how hard it is to make it in that league. Yeah. It's not the guy does not stink. It is just hard. It's hard to make it in college because we look at these lists, right, of these top 10 quarterback prospects. How many of them either transferred or they just flat out stink?
Lots.
Saban actually hit a lot because Barnett was a miss. But Tua, Bryce, Drake May. He had Drake May committed at one point. He had Lonergan, Holstein. Those guys, Holstein had a good year last year. He could play himself into the draft. Lonergan, Saban liked him, but he want to start a true freshman. So those guys are like Ty Simpson. We'll see with him this year. But Saban actually had a good eye for this stuff. As many of these other coaches,
he did.
These quarterbacks, they just don't pan out a lot. It's hard, even in college.
He did. I did like William Vlahos. He was like 5'6", but he could play. However, I don't think he was the best center. I think Landon Dickerson was hands down the best center that I've ever seen play college football. I mean, he I don't think it's even close in my opinion. But William Vlahos was a stud. I liked Vlahos a lot, but Landon Dickerson to me was the best center I've ever seen. I mean, just every aspect of his game was ridiculous. So anyway, we can go all night on this, man. We've been on that 90 minutes. Man, almost 200 of y'all, man.
Hey, I live out west, so it's 7:30 for me.
Oh yeah, 7:30 for you, 9:30 for us. For me, where I'm at, almost 200 of you guys catching us live. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Yeah, I love this. He still is a maniac. He showed up at camp with a cooler full of beer for that combined scrimmage with whoever he was talking with. But he out there with his knee brace on, with his knee wrap on, with a cooler of Miller Lights. So yeah, I love me some Landon Dickerson. That might be one of my favorite Alabama players of all time. Mainly because when he got that LSU guy to jump off sides, he stood there doing like this, like making fun of him. Man, I was crying laughing when he was doing that. Like, gotcha. And I could not stop laughing, dude. That was one of my favorite moments of Landon Dickerson moments of all time. That made me laugh so hard. But anyway, Tobias, my friend, thank you for stepping in on a whim and not making me have to host this show by myself, because I promise you this show the viewers would have dropped and we would have been done after about 20 minutes, because I would have been struggling. But
hey, no worries. Hey, I'm like a pinch hitter.
Friend. Yeah, hey, man, best pinch hitter going, dude.
Hey, thanks, man. You guys have a good one out there, and thanks for all the good comments, everybody.
Yeah, roll tide, man. Thank you, Tobias, for joining us. Y'all in the chat, I appreciate y'all in the chat hanging with me. Appreciate Cotton coming in for a few minutes, not leaving me sitting here by myself, babbling on and looking like a fool. Appreciate T Wheat bringing the noise in the chat, baby. T was fired up tonight, man. I didn't agree with everything he said, but I'm glad he was here. I'm glad he's bringing the noise. I hope he comes back next week, dude. I don't remember seeing you here before. Maybe I missed it, but keep coming, keep bringing that energy, bring that fire. Sometimes we need to take our crimson colored glasses off to see things. So I appreciate him doing that. Appreciate Jay Bake, Eric D in the chat, Cat Pool, Lance, all y'all. Let me see who else I'm missing. Tim's in the house. I Bleed Crimson, Zay Gaines. I appreciate you guys. Who else am I missing? I want to make sure I get everybody. I don't want to miss anybody that was in here tonight. I believe that's everybody. Cornelius Jelix was here. Appreciate Cornelius jumping in. That's one I forgot. A lot of regulars in here tonight. Waaaay Offsides was in here for a minute. I think that was Cotton laying on his couch. Anyway, appreciate everybody joining in. Appreciate you guys tuning in every week and chopping it up in the chat. We couldn't do this without you. We do it for you. We're just guys up here running our mouths, don't know everything. Don't try to claim to know everything. We're just giving our opinions. We have eyeballs. We have opinions. Everybody's got them. There's no right or wrong. We see, we say. So, everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe. Go check us out, waayoffsides.com. That's 4 A's, not 5, not 3. How many A's?
Way, this is all caps. W-A-A-A-A-Y. Way, this is all caps.
All caps, W-A-A-Y, Waaaay Offsides. Come check us out. Go check us out on social medias, on X, on Insta, on TikTok, at Waaaay Offsides. Next week, we are going to be joined by the Buckeye Boys. Devin and Mello from the podcast Buckeye Boys. Obviously, they're Ohio State dudes. So they're going to come on here and continue our little head-to-head series where we can get some other perspectives from other fan bases and kind of chop it up a little bit. So we're going to do that next week. So amen to everybody here. Appreciate everybody joining us. Roll Tide, everyone. See you next week. I hope it didn't scare everybody off. Roll Tide, everyone. Horns down. Eat your Wheaties. Drink your milk. Take your vitamins. Roll Tide.